This meeting of the Anderson Township Board of Zoning Appeals is hereby called to order. This board was established pursuant to Section 519.13 of the Ohio Revised Code by the Anderson Township trustees to provide administrative relief to any person or entity adversely affected by the Anderson Township zoning resolution. Will the secretary please call the roll?
Rick Oversmith.
Here.
Jeannie Beckfold.
Here.
Fred Hayes.
Here.
Steve Haber.
Here.
Brian Johnson.
Here.
Thank you for coming to this meeting. Please be aware that this meeting is audio and videotaped and may be carried live on local cable television. First, I'll outline our procedures. A summary of the appeal is presented by the staff, and then the appellant will present its case. The board members may then ask questions of the appellant. After that, all persons supporting the appeal will be permitted to testify one at a time after being recognized by the chair. When those persons supporting the appeal are finished, those opposed to the appeal will then be permitted to testify after being recognized by the chair. All persons wishing to testify, whether for or against an appeal, may do so only after being sworn in. When testifying, each person must come to the podium, either one is turned on, and state their name, address, and affiliation to the case. All persons testifying are generally limited to 4 or 5 minutes unless the board requests additional time. All testimony is given to the board without comments, questions directed to the appellant or anyone else in the audience. The board would like to hear only new, non-repetitive evidence or questions. Now, all persons who may give testimony, please stand and raise your right hand. So if you think you're going to talk, do it. You don't have to, but you have to be sworn in. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. Are there any changes to tonight's agenda?
No.
All right. Approval of minutes. I guess we have the September 5th meeting, which we did not have the right quorum to approve last
Correct.
month. We have enough now, so
Yeah, move we approve the minutes of the Board of Zoning Appeals meeting on September 5th, 2013.
I'll second that.
all right, we have a motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Abstain.
How about the October 3rd minutes?
I received corrections from Fred on those, a lot of typographical things.
All right, and so we've incorporated those?
Yes, we
All
made
right.
those changes.
Did you include my absence?
Ooh,
I don't remember being there.
we can do that. Okay.
Oops.
Well, we all thought you were there.
In
You
spirit.
left an impression anyway.
We really missed you.
It's the ghost that's causing all the glitches in the speaker system.
There you go.
With that change, we have a motion to approve the October 3rd minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
I'll abstain.
Aye.
I wasn't here.
Abstain.
2 abstentions, 3 in favor. Thank you. All right. Consideration of case 21-2013, 7323 Riverby.
Yes, Kathleen Stringfield is the property owner here. It is zoned AA residence, which is a single-family designation, and she's here with us tonight to request a variance to allow a detached shed 12 feet by 11 feet with a height of 10 feet to be located in the side yard area where a zoning resolution requires it to be located in the rear. Here's a location map of the home. You can see the surrounding zoning designation on the property is AA as well. And an aerial photo of the site, as well as a topographical image of the site with the star representing the approximate location of the proposed structure. The tract is approximately 1.01 acres and has 330 feet of frontage on Riverby. There is a steep decrease in grade from the north to the south of the property, and the existing use is a single-family home. So the applicant is proposing to construct a detached shed 12 feet by 11 feet within the side yard area, as we see here on this proposed site plan. The grade in this area is a bit more level than the rear yard of the property. The existing home is part of the Rio Grande subdivision, and we do not have any other zoning information on file for this property. Staff finds that the variance is not substantial. The area where the shed is proposed to be located will not be visible from the roadway due to the steep terrain. This portion of the roadway in front of the property is approximately an elevation of 690 to 700 feet above sea level, while the proposed location of the structure is at an elevation of 670. The proposed structure will have a total height of 10 feet and will be located with a setback equal to that of the existing front yard setback of the residence. The existing character of the neighborhood will not be substantially altered, and adjoining properties will not suffer a substantial detriment as a result of the variance. Previous variances have been granted in the Rio Grande subdivision, specifically at 7302 Riverby in 2001 for a pool to be located in the front yard area. The variance will not adversely affect the delivery of government services, and the property owner's predicament cannot be feasibly obviated by some method other than a variance. The rear yard of this property has a very steep grade, and that makes it difficult to locate an accessory structure in that area. The proposed location of the shed is on the most level ground of this site. Here we see the elevation being proposed. It is just a small garden shed, as well as pictures of the property in question. This photo in the bottom left is looking southwest at the existing home, this being the approximate location of the shed. This is looking south again at the home, approximate location of the shed being here, and this is looking southeast, so the home is in this direction, and the shed would approximately be in that location.
Would the applicant like to please state your name, address, and fill us in on any additional information, please?
I'm Kathleen Stringfield, residing at 7323 Riverby Drive. Allison did a great presentation. That's essentially, we just, these homes are not large. The garage in particular is not large, and there's no place for a lawnmower or chairs in the winter or things like that. So that's really what we're looking at. It's basically, I have more photos if you want to see them. It would not be visible from anywhere in the neighborhood, to the best of my knowledge.
Questions for the applicant or for staff? Yes, Fred.
Mr. Chairman, I have a couple of questions of staff. As I toured the property a couple of days ago, I saw that there was a great deal of vegetation in the area that is proposed for the site of the structure. How much clearing is going to happen there, or is it just barely enough to put the...
That may be a better question for the applicant.
Okay.
Did you walk all the way down to the
I did
end
not
of
walk all
the
the way
level
down.
ground?
Well,
There's,
I was down at the level ground, yes.
okay. I haven't weed whacked it recently, but at the end where we're proposing the shed is a prior flattened spot defined by some railroad ties. I had my little wrought iron benches sitting there. That's basically the 12 by 12 plot where we're looking at. So there's a dying pine tree just beyond it that we'll probably cut down, but other than that, just weed whack.
So to a large extent, the existing vegetation would almost block the view of people that are even coming close to it, too.
Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah. The second question, then, the note from the Davises regarding the
Restrictive
covenants,
covenants.
the covenants of the, for the neighborhood. Is there somebody that is going to give testimony on that?
No, there's not. She just asked that they be included in the record in our file for the case, and she submitted them to us prior to, or after board member packets went out, so I've given you all a copy. But she does not intend to give testimony.
I could not find anything in these with a quick read, and I'm not a good quick reader, on outbuildings.
Correct.
Do you see anything on the
No.
outbuildings? Okay. Thank you.
Other questions of staff or applicant?
Thank you. I don't want to read it.
Brian, Steve? I have one question.
Yes, sir.
This board can grant variances from the zoning requirements. We can't grant variances from your neighborhood declaration.
Right.
So
I've been in touch.
quickly, you're dealing with that separately.
Yes, I've been in touch with the Patswalds on the west and the Steins to the north, who would be the most likely to be affected in any way, and neither one has any problem with it. I've notified everyone in the neighborhood of what it is and have had no response, essentially.
Any other questions for the applicant? Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Would
Appreciate your time.
anybody else like to testify in favor of this application? Would anybody like to testify in opposition to this application? Hearing none, we close the public hearing on case 2113-BZA. Our procedure will be that after we have all the public hearings, we'll deliberate and make a decision on it after we go through the others. Okay, case 22-2013 for 8552 Northport Drive.
Yes. This property is zoned B2 CUP, which is a community unit plan. These are cases that typically the zoning commission would hear if it was something having to do with that CUP designation. However, this is just a typical variance request to allow a 6-foot-high privacy fence within the side yard area. This property is a corner lot, as we can see here, with frontage on Northport as well as Pine Bluff. It's approximately 67 feet of frontage on Pine Bluff and 107 feet on Northport. The site is relatively flat, and there's an existing single-family home there. The existing home was constructed in 1964, and there's no other information on file for this property. The privacy fence was installed this year, and after receiving a notice about that fence, the applicant is requesting a variance for that existing privacy fence. So you can see here an aerial photo of the site, as well as a proposed site plan. The section that is highlighted in orange here is the section of fence that is considered to be in the side yard area, as opposed to the rear yard, which is this section of fence in this area. Just due to the nature of this being a corner lot, the property has 2 front yards, as well as a side yard that's actually in the rear of the home, and a rear yard that's actually on the side of the home. Here we see property pictures of this existing fence. This 4-foot-high privacy fence is located in what is considered to be the property's rear yard. This is an adjacent home there. And this section of 6-foot-high privacy fence is actually what is located in the side yard when viewing the property from Pine Bluff. Staff finds that the variance is not substantial. The area where the fence is proposed to be located will not impact visibility from the front of the property. The fence will extend from the rear corner of the house to the property line shared with the rear yard of the adjacent home. Due to this, the essential character of the neighborhood will not be substantially altered, and adjoining properties will not suffer a substantial detriment as a result of this variance. Other properties in this vicinity have privacy fences with side yard appearances just due to the nature of corner lots. The variance will not adversely affect the delivery of government services, and the property owner's predicament cannot be feasibly obviated by some method other than a variance. Any questions?
Any questions of staff? Yes, Steve?
Yeah, question. Can you go, Allison, can you go back to the site plan?
Yes.
So we've got a corner lot situation, and we're trying to decide where the rear yard is versus the side yard. So if I understand correctly, where you've indicated on the right-hand side of the lot where there's a 4-foot fence, they would actually be allowed to put a 6-foot fence there.
Correct.
And then where they have the 6-foot fence, that's where it's required to be a 4-foot.
Right, and minimum of 75% open.
And open as well, okay. So the 6-foot fence is just the orange portion,
Yes.
and then the rest of it is 4 feet?
Well, hard to see from this perspective. The entire fence along that rear may be 6 feet.
But The portion that's 6 foot,
But the portion that's 6 feet
Is-
within the side yard area is just this orange highlighted
Does
portion,
the
yes.
6 feet fence go all the way back? to the
Correct,
corner?
but it would be permitted
It's
to be 6
supposed to
feet in
be
this area.
reversed.
we'll get you in a second.
Okay.
Okay, I'm good, because I figured there'd be some more questions on location. Thank you.
Any other questions for staff?
Yes. Allison, when we determined the side yard and the rear yard, I'm confused as to how we did that. The address is on Northport,
Yes,
and the facing of the structure is to Northport.
yes.
But we still consider the,
Side
Front-
yard to
front
be the
yard.
rear, yes. So since this was a CUP, when it came through originally for the zoning certificate for the single-family home, this was determined to be the side yard setback. That's why it's a bit closer to this property line than the home is this way. This was determined to have the rear yard setback.
thank you.
I'd just like to mention again for the record,
Corner lots are funny, and
corner lots are kind of the full employment act for the Board of Zoning. Because if we
Well,
don't
thank-
have a corner lot once a month, I'd be disappointed.
Thank you for that
Right.
explanation on this, on the CUP, because I was driving the neighborhood, I'm thinking, these corner lots are different than most of the things in Anderson Township, and they seem to be further back and closer to that neighbor versus that neighbor.
Yep.
That makes more sense now. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions for staff?
That cleared it up for me, too.
All right, thank you. Would the applicant please state your name, address, and...
Sean Barker. I live at 8552 Northport.
And I'm Megan Barker, same address, 8552 Northport.
Basically, grew up in Anderson my whole life, love the town, just trying to update my home, which I'm doing with, removing trees, putting more grass in, which you guys can see from the photo. I plan on putting plenty of flower trees, landscaping to hide that fence from the street. Once I get to that point, I mean, it's been just a lot of work as far as getting the grass back there. But other than that, I just feel like the fence appeals to myself better that way, just because when you drive up in the front to see 4 and we walk out our back patio to enjoy a dinner, and I really don't like neighbors walking by to see me eating my dinner. If I had a 4-foot fence, the ground level is a little bit higher to where I'd only have maybe 3 foot of privacy, so they would still see me. That's typically why I felt like the fence should go that way.
Questions for the applicant? The one question, if you could confirm, it's 6 foot all the way along.
It butts into a chain link fence right now that was already existing, so the new portion is 6 foot all the way up to the portion of chain link that we share with our neighbor. But the plan is to take the 6 foot all the way to our whole rear yard.
What you think is your rear yard.
Right.
And what we say is your side yard.
We were just as confused, obviously, of what is our rear.
What's the
and
rear of the
side
home?
yard,
So you walk out my
as you
back
guys
door,
were.
you walk out my back door and you're in my side yard,
Yeah.
if that makes any sense.
We understand.
So is it your intention to then completely fence everything, your entire perimeter of your yards back there with a
The-
6-foot-high
any-
fence?
Right, the chain link
yeah.
fence that is there will be removed eventually, and the privacy fence will be, the whole perimeter. But the 4-foot fence will stay on that whole front portion of what we consider the front of our house.
So I'm looking at this picture in the top left, and it looks like it's got a wood fence there. It looks relatively new, that's 4 foot high,
Yes,
and that's going to remain?
Yes.
yes,
Okay, so you want to go 6 feet, I'm trying to
From
understand
that
what your
corner,
long-range plan
all the way
is
around.
from that corner all the way around?
yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Other questions for the applicant? Fred?
Yes, have you had any discussions, positive or negative, with your close-by neighbors?
Well, in trick or treat, we had quite a few people that, before they even knew what the sign was for, they're like, oh, we love the fence, like, it's looks great, blah, 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 and I'm like, well, unfortunately, that's what the sign's about. So, I mean, anything that we've heard from our surrounding neighbors have all been positive.
They all see me working on my house all the time. I mean, I'm just virtually trying to update it today, which is kind of hard to do from where it started from, just like everybody else's house. And I'm trying to do my best, put my foot forward as far as making it appeal better to the whole township. And I feel like all my neighbors pretty much, agree with me from what I've heard. I don't know if they'd say anything bad to my face, about it, but, from what I've heard, and I know a lot of my neighbors, I'm a community guy, so, that's the way I feel they feel.
A related question to staff. The violation notice was from our inspector, not from any of the neighbors, is that correct? That's correct, okay. And one final question. Your intention is to remove the chain link fence. You didn't say it, but the inference is that you own the chain link fence, not your neighbor. Is that correct?
Yes. And they would love it to just go away. And none of them like the chain link. It's just that none of them have the money to afford to remove it. And I would just take it upon myself to do it because I do have a dog that jumps 4-foot fences. And we'll have to do something with the front, I think, that where we can disable him. But it would also help with them barking and, just the whole neighbor situation. But
So you have had some discussions with your neighbors, not about the fence, but about the dog?
well, they see him
Well,
because he
yeah,
just goes in
they-
their backyard.
He's
None
a
of
big-
them
he's a
had a
big
problem.
dog.
Yeah, none of them had a problem with it. But it just irritates me because I don't want him in their yard, making ruckus or whatever. And I do plenty of work for plenty of my neighbors, and I like to stay friends with them and not make enemies. So.
Okay, thank you.
Has the fence that you installed calmed the dog down so far?
Yes, tremendously. So, yeah.
So you accomplished your goal.
I have
Yes,
One
ma'am.
other question for you. I think at the time, in some of your comments, talked about hiding some of the fence by landscaping. Do you have any specific plans for that, or is it just?
Maybe just some flower trees, maybe some bushes or something, just some kind of landscaping. I'm not really sure, what we have planned. I'm sure we'll pick something out, because we did take a tree down there. There was a large maple, and since the power line runs through there, it was only half a tree. So I pretty much had that removed, and that's why it's mostly dirt there. And we'll probably put something more low maintenance and not as high, something more pretty. That would fit in between the telephone pole and the other tree that's there.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Anybody else like to testify in favor of this application? Anybody like to testify in opposition to this application? Seeing and hearing none, we'll close the public hearing on case 22-2013 BZA and move on to case 23-2013 BZA 1523 Laval.
Yes.
Another
This is going to
corner
seem very familiar.
lot. Corner lot.
This is, again, a variance request to allow a 6-foot-high privacy fence to be located in the side yard, where we only permit them within the rear yard. This is also Zone B2 CUP, Residence Community Unit Plan, and as you can see, actually not quite from this photo, the home on Northport is just over here. So again, surrounding conditions is all B2 CUP. Here we have an aerial photo of the home. And this site is approximately .22 acres and has 103 feet of frontage on Laval and 72 feet of frontage on Northport. Topography, again, is relatively flat. The existing use is a single-family home. The existing home was constructed in 1964. A zoning certificate for an above-ground pool was issued in 1991, and there is none present at this current day. And again, a privacy fence was installed this year, a violation notice then issued, and the applicant is now requesting a variance for that privacy fence. Proposed site plan, this parcel is a little flipped from the last one. On this, their rear yard is considered to be on Laval, while their side yard is at the rear of the home. Again, I highlighted that area in orange, where the fence is considered to be in the side yard. And here we see photos of surrounding conditions. This photograph is looking from Laval at what is considered to be the rear yard of the property, while this one is standing at the sidewalk on the corner of Northport and Laval, looking at what is considered to be the side yard of the property, looking at surrounding conditions, and then a closer photo looking at the side yard from Northport. So staff felt that the property in question may yield a better return with the improvements made to the previously dilapidated fence. There was previously a fence along this property line. Staff felt that the essential character of the neighborhood would not be altered and adjoining properties would not suffer substantial detriment as a result of the variance. Adjacent properties have existing privacy fences in side yard areas and with side yard appearances due to the nature of corner lots. The variance will not adversely affect the delivery of government services. While it's located within the side yard area of the property, the fence is clear of any sight lines and it does not extend toward the roadway beyond the existing setback of the residence. And the property owner's predicament cannot be feasibly obviated through some method other than a variance. The property owners expressed concern about the visibility of a pool as well as traveling through the yard. So privacy fence does prohibit that visibility, whereas a 75% open or a shorter fence would not. Questions?
Questions for staff? A request to explain the side yard, backyard?
We can go through it again. It's okay.
Well, it's the same logic, though. It was
Yeah.
it was the CUP plan that determined which one was which. Actually, I do have one question. By the pictures, not from what we put on the screen, but by the pictures that you sent to us in the packets,
Yes.
there was an existing wood fence there
Yes.
that never had any.
No, we never had anything on it. It was not enclosed in this area, so we may have received the initial complaint after somebody noticed that that became enclosed, and that's what brought it to the office's attention.
So the portion the long portion in yellow was there and has been replaced?
Yes, along this property line has been replaced.
The short part was not there at all?
Correct.
Okay,
And you see, I think it's figure 4 in your packet.
got it.
And on the same picture that you've got on the screen, the top line was a chain link fence, I think.
Correct, and that's considered to be the rear yard area of the home.
So that's conforming?
Yes. Just the highlighted portion is not.
Additional questions of staff?
So this was different than the other case, that this was a complaint?
Yes. I believe the zoning inspector went out when we received, not necessarily a complaint, but an inquiry of, there's a privacy fence, what's going on? And then driving through the area, discovered other
Okay.
new fences.
Is it 6 feet all the way around, right
Yes.
now?
Good. No other questions for staff? Would the applicant like to state your name, address, and tell us anything more you care to about this situation?
Sure. My name is Adam Whitman. I live at 1523 Laval Drive. As Allison stated, it was an excellent summary. Purchased the house. The fence was dilapidated. The rear yard, make sure I'm saying that right because that was confusing to me. I had to go through it a few times. The rear yard, which I thought was a side yard, that was actually a chain link fence on the other side, but a 6-foot wood fence did exist around the entire perimeter of the backyard. Replaced the fence with a new one and also wanted to enclose it to create the backyard similar to the other case for privacy, twofold. One, the house adjacent to ours has a pool, and the backyard of that house, I have a young daughter. She's not walking yet, but she'll be getting there. So it was closing off the yard, so there was not access to that pool. The second piece to that is just to create privacy from Northport, which is a main road. There's a lot of traffic, and just to keep the backyard, which is considered the side yard, enclosed from that traffic. There's no piece of it that it blocks any view of the street. Discussed with my neighbors before the fence was repaired, received positive comments as far as the appearance. Before the house, we purchased the house, it was actually abandoned. I believe it was a foreclosure. So the fence was in pretty poor condition as well as the outside of the house. So these were all capital improvements to improve the aesthetics as well as add value to the house, or that was the intent.
Great, thank you. Any questions of the applicant? Yes.
I do have one question. That long wood fence separating you from your neighbor with the pool was your fence, though? It came with the house, it is not the neighbor's fence?
Correct.
Other questions of the applicant? Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Anybody else like to speak in favor of this application?
I just wanted to note, it probably wasn't a complaint, it was probably just me telling Barbara that I was more aware of other fences the same as mine, and she said that she was going to be doing some more driving around. I did not want to get anyone else in trouble. I was just doing what everyone else, almost everyone.
You're okay.
Appreciate it.
And, so I didn't want to witness that as a complaint.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else favor or opposed to this application? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing on case 23-2013. I guess now we can go back, start at Riverside Drive and ask for the board's reaction on that case and presentation.
Well, it seems like to me that, they've got a significant topographical issue. They are allowed at least an accessory structure or more, and to put it up on piles or something like that doesn't make a lot of sense. There's a lot of vegetation around it. I think we could certainly, I would be in favor of a motion granting the variance because of those concerns. It just doesn't seem like there's another place to put the accessory structure.
I would agree. I thought as she was, as I read through her submittal and her presentation, that it probably would be better to have these items tucked away in a nice structure versus scattered out around on the lawn. That'd be a better aesthetic appearance than having personal belongings sitting around.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree. It's a reasonable sized building, generally obstructed by vegetation. Seems that it wouldn't be blocking anybody's view. So I'm in favor.
And I mean, the restrictive covenants are whatever the restrictive covenants are, and that's up to the neighborhood association to enforce and however they feel appropriate, if they're even applicable to this situation.
Well, it's nice to have that information, but it's
Right.
not really pertinent to our deliberations.
Entertain a motion then.
So, Mr. Chair, I move that in case number 21-2013 BZA at 7323 Riverby Road, that we grant the variance request to allow a detached shed the drawings say 10 feet by 10 feet with a 2-foot overhang with a height of 10 feet to be located in the side yard where it is required to be located in the rear yard per section 171.7. Based on the fact that the variance is not substantial, the essential character of the neighborhood would not be substantially altered, and the adjoining properties would not suffer a substantial detriment. We've had testimony that the vegetation is going to remain around the structure, that the topography is such that the roadway, the drive, is at a height that will obviate being able to see the majority of the structure, so it's going to be tucked away on what seems to be the most reasonable area that it can be built. The variance would not adversely affect delivery of governmental services, and really that the property owner's predicament cannot be really feasibly obviated through some other means other than granting this variance. There just seems to be no other location on the property where it can be located, and the spirit of intent behind the zoning requirement would be observed. And certainly substantial justice is done by granting this variance.
Second, but I'd also like to make a friendly amendment to it, that it be subject to no significant removal of the existing vegetation, and that construction be completed within 1 year.
Do you want to?
Yeah, I think Fred brings up some good items here. I should have in my motion attached to the drawing of the proposed garden shed, which is dated September 18th, 2013, and it looks like Appendix E.
All the plans.
All the plans were received October 9th. Yep, completed within a year.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on that? If not, Betty, could you call the roll, please?
Jean Bechtold.
Aye.
Fred Hayes.
Aye.
Steve Haver.
Aye.
Brian Johnson.
Aye.
Rick Overschmidt.
Aye. For those in the audience who are wondering about our procedure, we consider that to be a straw vote. The staff will actually type up the resolution, since we played around with the language during that, and we'll take another vote later to formally adopt it. Next up, case 22, Northport Drive. Thoughts from the board? Who wants to lead off? Brian, go ahead.
I think for both of these, they're nice fences. It's only a short distance that the variance would be. It's going to match the rear or the side. So I'm in favor.
I am too. I think it's an improvement to the lot itself, and it would certainly give them the privacy that they need.
I am in favor of this as well, especially when the difficulty is really created by the technicality of the CUP plan that is 50 years old. But I would like to add the thought that the owner is willing to install vegetation to diminish the view of the fence, and that should probably be part of the consideration of granting the variance.
So that would only be where the variance
Area is
is.
That's all that's needed.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
on the side that the small section that he
Right.
could landscape.
Right.
Yeah, I think when you take the neighborhood into account, I mean, the houses, built in the 60s, they are close together. And I think people do have a greater sense of need for security and things like that. It certainly seems reasonable and doesn't seem out of character for the neighborhood. And it's really great that both of these applicants are upgrading the properties. With that, I'll entertain a motion.
All right, we're going to make a motion. Mr. Chairman, I want to make a motion in the case of, case number 22-2013 BZA at 8552 Northport Drive, and the variance request, we're granting the variance request to allow a 6-foot-high privacy fence to be located in the side yard where it is to be required to be located in the rear yard per section 171.19. See that the variance is not substantial. We've had testimony from, the essential character of the neighborhood would not be substantially altered, and adjoining properties will not suffer a substantial detriment as a result of the variance. We had testimony from the applicant today that privacy is an issue regarding the proximity of the house to the neighbors, and how the CUP has deemed that what we look at to be the rear yard is actually the side yard. So the appellant is looking for additional privacy based on the adjacencies of the structures. The variance is not going to adversely affect the delivery of governmental services. And really, the property owner's predicament cannot be feasibly obviated by some method other than a variance. The property owners indicated that dogs are kept calm by the fence, and that's certainly a plus to the neighborhood. We've got, since there is additional construction to be had here, because, oh, no, we're not, we're only just doing the variance. We're just granting the variance. There's no construction timing. Yep.
Do you want to say anything about the landscaping?
Landscaping.
And that the appellant would work with staff to come up with some existing additional landscape to screen the existing fence, and it'd just be a staff review. But I would like to know that staff would review it.
And only in the area of the variance?
Only in the area of the variance, and that the landscaping be added within a year.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Betty, would you call the roll, please?
Jean Bechtold.
Aye.
Fred Hayes.
Aye.
Steve Haver.
Aye.
Brian Johnson.
Aye.
Rick Obersman.
Aye. Okay. Next go-round. 23, case 23, Laval Drive. Other than saying ditto, would everybody like to make comments on this case?
Ditto.
I think this one's a little bit different because there was a fence there before, and it is a major improvement from the fence that was there before.
And there is the stated concern of, with the opening, of people cutting through and things like that, and the safety from an adjoining pool.
From the pool, yeah.
Right.
Further discussion on this one? Who would like to make a motion, Steve?
Ditto. Oh, geez. Well, the other thing that I think in light of this appeal, that we didn't talk about landscaping here, and do we want to, because it was open before, we're closing the end of that, it would seem appropriate to me to include some additional landscaping that would.
It's not a big area. It would seem like a couple of bushes
Right.
would break that up a little bit. from
There
the
is a
street.
gate there, so they'd have to put at that opening. That's the new opening where the opening is. There
Yeah.
appears to be a gate.
No, that's a
It
good
would
point.
soften it from the street somewhat.
Okay, so, Mr. Chair, this will be a record for me. In case number 23-2013 BZA at 1523 Laval Drive, I move that we grant the variance request to allow a 6-foot high privacy fence to be located in the side yard where it is required to be located in the rear yard per section 171.9. The variance request is not substantial. There was an existing fence that was located here that was dilapidated and falling down, and the appellant has taken the opportunity to put a new fence back in, which is certainly an improvement to the neighborhood. So we don't believe that the essential character of the neighborhood is going to be altered. Adjoining properties will not suffer a substantial detriment as a result of the variance. We're taking an existing dilapidated fence and improving it. Adjacent properties have existing privacy fences in their side yard areas. So we believe that this is conforming to the neighborhood. The variance will not adversely affect the delivery of governmental services. And the property owner's predicament cannot be easily obviated through any other means other than a variance. I will include the appellant's request that it provide additional safety from small children crossing into the adjacent property which has a pool. So we are recognizing additional safety and entrance then into that rear yard. We would like, it's also based on some additional landscaping, again, that we request that the appellant work with staff in order to come up with some addition, notify them of a landscaping plan or some bushes or something that would be indicated there, that the landscaping would be completed within 1 year. And have I missed anything?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Jean Bexell,
Aye.
Fred Hayes,
Aye.
Steve Haver,
Aye.
Brian Johnson,
Aye.
Rick Oversmith.
Aye. Okay, we'll let staff, we'll take a brief recess while staff types up or edits what they had previously typed up, formal resolutions for us to adopt momentarily. Take a brief recess.
We could not ask you, sir, if you were agreeing to the, that
Ready to go? Go back in session. Real quick, though, before we do that, we have 2 cases that are still hanging out there, right?
Yes.
We have the one other Riverby case.
The other Riverby case, we check in with them periodically. At this time, they're still trying to work with the homeowners association,
All right.
and they will come before us once they do, or if no agreement is reached, perhaps they will not.
Well, what's the procedure there? Will they withdraw their request, or how does that work out? Just out of curiosity.
Yes, at this time, they have withdrawn the request, so we just check in with them
They
every,
have formally withdrawn it? Okay.
so we just check in with them each deadline to see if they would like to reapply.
I don't recall that one.
Yeah,
Is that
that's a
quite-
case.
It was on the agenda, and you all got staff summaries for it, but they withdrew the
Yes, I saw
application
them
prior
staff,
to a hearing ever.
They first asked for a delay of the case and then withdrew it. Okay.
And the other one was the Clough Pike animal.
His Family Pet Center, he's just asked for a delay of the case. We've issued several zoning certificates there before where the construction has not taken place, so I would not be surprised if he did withdraw the case next month. So,
All right, thank you.
Okay.
I'll sleep better at night knowing the status of these 2 cases.
I'm sure.
Here we go. Which one you got up first?
We can start with 21.
This is about to go bye-bye. The voices.
On the 4th line there, Betty, it's a Board of Zoning Appeals, grant a variance. Grant variance, it's VA, that's it, you got it. I can't say it.
Grant a variance. Want to scroll down?
I'm ready.
please?
Sixty-seven point two something, that's not, yeah, right there.
This,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I see.
at elevation 670, that's the end of the sentence.
Yeah, but there's a paragraph.
Well, it's the two is really, put a space or two there.
Oh, I see, okay, thank you.
I
That
did-
hit-
I had the same
Ah,
reaction.
my, huh? Okay,
I had the
thank you.
same reaction.
I thought that was part of the number 670 point something. Okay, thank you.
At the end of the second line, you've got a semicolon. Did we want to say something more about the existing vegetation? Because you're starting over a new sentence in the next line.
Well, the second line, you want to say, due to the steep terrain
That
difference
should just be a
and
period.
existing, why don't we just add "and existing vegetation"? How's that, would that address your?
That's fine.
And then put a period.
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 Thank you.
We're being redundant there then. See if we add it down here, it's,
Yeah.
is that being redundant, or should we leave it?
It's in there for two separate reasons.
Okay.
Everybody good?
Your original motion, I thought you spoke to the issue of the property owner's covenants.
No,
You didn't?
no, I did not.
Should we say something?
I don't think we need to.
No.
I
stand-
made the comment, just kind of for the record,
Right.
but I don't think we should get into their covenants.
Okay.
I mean, we grant it, but if they don't, they don't. We grant it, if they do, they do, so. Mr. Chair, on the case number,
Can we scroll down, make sure we got the bottom of it
Oh,
all
thank
right
you.
there? Yeah, there we go.
Good.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve and journalize case 21-2013 BZA.
Second.
A motion and a second, any further discussion? Betty, could you call the roll, please?
Jean Greco,
Aye.
Fred Hayes,
Aye.
Steve Hayward,
Aye.
Brian Johnson,
Aye.
Rick Oversmith.
Aye. Same change. Grant A variance.
Well, when you copy something, that's what happens.
Yeah, cut and paste.
I bet we get that one more time today.
Fix it before she gets to us. Oops.
Wait a minute. This is Riverby.
We need to get back to
There we go.
22, 2013. Is this where the one that was a 75% open?
That's what it should be.
I know that Allison said it in her, but it's not in,
Fences in a side yard are required to be.
Okay. Okay.
Ready to scroll down a little bit more?
Yeah.
On the landscaping, do we need to say landscaping satisfactory to staff, or do we?
If you'd like, I mean, for us to consider this condition granted, they're gonna have to submit a landscape plan prior to ever getting the zoning certificate, so it's gonna have to come to us for review.
I just wanted a trigger for them to do it, that's all.
And this is good, I think.
Do we feel like street side, like the side yard fence sounds funny? Does that sound okay? Does that make sense?
Say that question again?
Street side of the side yard.
Street side of the side yard fence.
which street?
Well, it doesn't,
Well, the side yard, so
Pine
the
Bluff.
fence that's in the side yard is the
Right,
one that
so it'd
requires
be-
the variance.
so
So
it'd
the,
be-
rather than the side on the inside of their backyard, okay,
And
name the street?
that would be good.
I don't remember what the name of that street,
Pine Bluff, isn't it?
Pine Bluff.
Pine Bluff?
And the construction of the fence shall be
Yes,
completed
fine.
within 1 year from the date of this decision, but it's already there, so do we need to?
This is the one that has the chain link as well, so the
Still-
full
Okay.
completion.
Working, yeah.
Okay. Oh, this is the one that's still working, okay. Sorry.
That's in the rear yard anyway, is it not?
Partially side, partially rear.
Okay.
Is that it?
We did make some discussion about there, confusion about the CUP and which was the rear yard and the side yard. That could be another item that we could add, although I'm fine with this. I just want to throw that out as,
So we don't, you're saying in the reasons, we really haven't discussed the fact that the CUP,
It's not necessarily the CUP, it's just that the CUP determined which was considered side versus rear, but all the corner lots have the same funny,
okay.
designation.
All right, so that,
do we note it was a corner lot in here? Yeah, you can, you say due to the nature
Yeah.
of corner lots, okay.
Is there anything further down?
no, just the standard, be it further.
ready? Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve and journalize case number 22-2013 BZA.
I'll second that.
Motion is second, any further discussion? Betty, could you call the roll, please?
Jeannie Beckholm,
Aye.
Fred Hayes,
Aye.
Steve Weaver,
Aye.
Brian Johnson,
Aye.
Rick Oberschmidt.
Aye. Case 23.
/ 23.
23 cases so far this year. That's pretty
We've
good.
been busy.
Did it? Okay, we're scrolling down a little bit.
Okay, on number 1, the variance is not substantial. The proposed fence is an improvement on a, let's take out previously and say existing deteriorating. Deteriorate, existing in, well, either one. Yeah, there we go. Oh, that deteriorated, well, there we go.
It's already there.
I haven't read far enough yet.
But that reads better. I think what you said reads better.
Thank you.
But it should be is an improvement of an existing deteriorating fence.
What happened there?
I have repeated myself.
So if there was 2 references to side yards. On number 2, on the conditions, do we want to go ahead and identify the street? That's going to be the,
Yeah, it looks like the one that's in Northport.
that's the Northport side. Is that the
Okay.
Northport?
Yes.
That's the Northport side, yeah.
I'm going for the trifecta here.
You might as well, but.
Is there anything else?
There's a piece in the, that we haven't addressed, and that's the piece that is a new fence. Number 1 addresses the replacement
On the back, yeah.
of the existing deteriorating fence. But it's additionally, we put in, we're allowing the addition of a new piece of fence
Enclosing it.
to enclose it for the safety and separation from the
Well-
adjacent pool.
We kind of say that in the end, where it says a privacy fence restricts the view of the pool as well as the view into the home from passerby on Northport. So maybe where we say as well as, maybe it is, and the enclosure of the previously open area increases security and protects the view or something like that. Is that where we could address it?
We can do that there, yes. That's good.
Okay. That's a better way to do it.
All right,
We good?
we're good. The rest of that's,
Mr. Chair, I move we approve and journalize case number 23-2013 BZA.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Betty, could you please call the roll, please?
Jean Beckfeld?
Aye.
Fred Hayes?
Aye.
Steve Haver?
Aye.
Brian Johnson?
Aye.
Rick Overton?
Aye.
I got plenty of credits for next meeting.
Yeah.
You do. 6
I'm not
motions.
here, you guys remember that.
You can.
So anyway, would you like to make a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Meeting's adjourned. Thank you all very much.